All right, guys, welcome to another live session of the Watercraft Journal. My name is Kevin Shaw, the editor-in-chief of the Watercraft Journal, and welcome to the dumbest hour of internet. I can't believe I'm doing this episode. I really can't. I really can't. I had joked with James Hines a little bit before we started last week's live session. And I said, I hate to break it to you, but jet ski enthusiasts are a lot like my little kids on Christmas morning. You can roll out months worth of Christmas shopping. You can roll out all the coolest stuff. The tree's all lit up. All the stuff's out there. The music's playing. And once all the packages are unwrapped, they'll stop and they'll look at you and go, so what am I getting for my birthday? And that's what jet skiers are. And he starts laughing because he knew exactly what I was talking about. Was after the 2024 rollout, everyone goes, that's great. What about next year? And so here we are. Here we are. Because we learn nothing. So guys, we're doing this episode. And while we wait for everyone to come in, everyone welcome Billy. Billy is here. Take a drink. All right. Quick couple things about news. We got a special video coming out of me test riding Greg Gaddis's 92 mile an hour GP 1800R SVHO. That comes out on Wednesday morning at midnight. So make sure to check that one out. That's going to be a good one. We are editing the Balassi test ride video. And that one goes live in about 2 weeks. Next week, I will be with SeaDoo test riding the new 24s, the new Sparks, the new 325 horsepower skis. So we'll have that. And there might be a special live session next week. It's a little too early to announce that, but I do have a unique opportunity to put not only James Hines back on camera, but I might be able to put a couple other people, including the engineering team. So that'll be a really big opportunity for you guys to ask questions. And we are only taking super chats, so it's pay to play. If you want to ask tech questions to the engineering department of SeaDoo, if everything goes according to plan, we very well might be able to do that next week. But it will not be on a Monday. I will have more details as long as it gets ironed out. So that is the next 2 weeks of content coming at you. We're pretty excited about that. We want to get you guys a good show, get you guys some good content. A lot of you SeaDoo guys who have questions, we want to make sure to answer them. But yeah, let's get back to the 2024 SeaDoo reveal, because we only had James for a half an hour. In fact, we had him for like 33 minutes. He had to go. He was at the convention center. Some people were bitching about the sound. I'm like, dude, he's in a convention center full of people. We couldn't put him in isolation booth. We had to work with what we got. So I apologize to you people who were simply dissatisfied with the audio, but I think James did a good enough job, was able to answer some questions, and I did not grill him on the Spark X because the entire point of our conversation was to talk about the 24 models and not sit there, but what if? That wasn't going to be what I was going to talk to that man about. I was not going to waste his time about that. But if you watched, if you paid attention, you will have noticed James literally dropped future product. Did you catch it? Were you listening? Because he straight up said a Supercharged Fish Pro is coming. Straight up said it. Probably going to be a 230. Probably not going to be a 300 or a 325. But he did say, because I teased him about the Explorer Pro 230. I said, hey, man, you guys didn't say anything. You didn't say a peep about the Explorer 230. And he laughed and he goes, yeah, you're literally the only person who caught on to that one. And I kind of laughed and I was like, all right, that's good. And I said, how come you chose the Explorer 230 instead of the Fish Pro? Since I know a lot of guys are screaming about Fish Pro. And he goes, well, hold on. It's like, we still have a lot of years. We have a lot of life left in the Fish Pro. Just cool your jets. Okay, great. He just name dropped that. He also supremely dropped hints about the future of Spark. And what was hilarious was the internet response to my video and the rollout. No one listened. Nobody listens. So here I am having to regurgitate these poor guys' words and go back over with a fine-tooth comb so that everyone who missed all the Easter eggs gets all the fun little nuggets for future stuff. Okay, so I had to laugh because there's a handful of internet channels that, or YouTube channels, I should say, sorry, but a handful of YouTube channels who want to talk jet skis, but they use me and the Watercraft Journal as their primary source, which is nice. I mean, it's a compliment. But what's hilarious to me is that they do no due diligence, like zero due diligence. And I'm going to walk you through some of the most basic research anyone can do. They don't need special access to anything. They don't need any phone numbers or text or be able to text any messages, text anyone special messages. This is very basic stuff that it's like, oh, duh. So the other half of it is that you need to kind of be able to need to be able to read the tea leaves when it comes to corporate. And it's not just SeaDoo corporate, it's corporate culture in general. And the biggest thing when it comes to that is also the number one thing when it comes to politics. And that is follow the money. Follow the money. Where is money being spent? Where is money not being spent? What is the best return on investment? And can I extrapolate from there? It's very, very easy stuff. This is not hard. Okay. And I don't mean to be condescending. I know I'm coming off condescending, but I've jokingly said with Greg Gaddis, and I've said it with Josh Dowling and other guys, I'm like, I don't think there's anyone who's doing this. And if I quit at the end of this year and just say, hey, man, I'm punching out. I'm done. This was fun, but I'm out. This vanishes. Any of this stuff vanishes. And I think that's kind of sad because it's not hard. Anyone can do this. So let's get into following the money. All right. Chad Hughes has a great question, and it's completely on point. So I'm going to start with this one. It's not a super chat, but I'm still getting into it. Chad writes, I'm surprised the rise wasn't mentioned at all. I'm not. Because the GTI-E or the E-GTI or anything else electric wasn't mentioned at all. You know what also wasn't mentioned at all? Was in Yamaha talking about anything electric. These guys are delaying electric as long as humanly possible because there's no infrastructure for it. Battery life ain't great. And the more time they can put underneath the hull, the better. The more time they can spend with it off the market, the better. Pay attention to what's happening right now in the automotive industry. Has anyone paid attention to what happened in the last 3 weeks with Ford and the Ford Lightning truck? Anybody? Bueller? Voodoo economics? All right. What happened to the Ford Lightning? It's the greatest story ever. It's the greatest story ever. The Ford Lightning sucks. It absolutely sucks. It can't tow anything, and the mileage blows. And a couple media outlets went and did road trips in Ford Lightnings and had catastrophic failures. All right. Broken down on the side of the road, charging station waits that took 8 or 9 hours, really bad results. So the CEO of Ford jumps in a brand new prepped Lightning. That means that his engineering crew went and spent a week on the damn thing to make sure that it was absolutely airtight. The CEO goes out there and says, I'm going to road trip with a trailer behind it. His report said it was eye-opening. First, it was eye-opening how horrible the experience was in his own vehicle. They've frozen distribution of that truck. Guys, EV is kicking everybody's ass right now. And there's no power structure for it. State of California won't let people charge their cars during the summer because of the tax on the grid. All right, the draw on the grid. They're doing roaming blackouts. Other states are having the same roaming brownouts, I should say. Not black, but brown. Yeah, I have a brownout. Ooh, there's a difference. It's a nightmare. So Yamaha, in their own super green, environmental Green New Deal plan, literally says we're not going electric until the grid and the infrastructure catches up. Sea-Doo goes, oh, if Yamaha is holding off, we're holding off. And everyone is backing out. All right? Everybody's backing out. So I'm sure the Rise works. I'm sure the Rise is fine. I'm sure my guess is that the battery life sucks and they just want better battery life. That's my take. All right. That's my take. So for BRP to kind of be quiet about the Rise, they didn't say it's gone. They didn't say we scrapped it. They didn't say anything about that. They just kind of ignored it. That just backburners it. Okay. And we're going to talk about back burner programs where they go, we're just going to push that back for a couple more years. Okay. We're going to let other stuff take center stage. That's a big deal. All right. So let's get into the money. All right. EV, a lot of money, a lot of resources. They're pushing that down the road. Instead, what did I say last week? While Yamaha is sitting there going, we're making our plastics out of plants and we're making all of our engine bearings with no, unleaded engine bearings, and we're going to run a quart less oil in that engine and maybe it'll be fine. Sea-Doo goes, F that noise. We're going full Ricky Bobby. I want to go fast. All right. Let's beat out Cowie and let's make a gear-driven supercharger. Or, a gear-driven turbo. It's a gear-driven turbo. They call it a supercharger, but it's a gear-driven turbo. That was the first thing Greg Gaddis said when he saw it. He goes, holy crap, it's got a planetary gear. It's a freaking turbo. I'm like, uh-huh. So, yeah. Now, all that adds up. So, inside corporate culture, inside of that building, outside of the public, inside of that building, Sea-Doo is going, bro, let's push this. Let's push this until they come after us. Let's push this until Trudeau kicks in our doors. Okay, great. Let's go for it. I'm like, dude, I got to give Sea-Doo credit where credit's due. I give them a rash of shit. I've absolutely given Sea-Doo such grief. And the Sea-Doo guys hate my guts because Kevin's always on their ass. But you got to give credit where credit's due, and SeaDoo's freaking pushing the envelope. I'm like, dude, yeah, that, and SeaDoo will put their freaking director on a podcast to take questions from the crowd. Who does that? Cowie did it. Cowie got their head of media relations out here. I could get their product tester out here. But the director of the jet ski division, freaking SeaDoo dropped. They're like, dude, we'll come on. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, cool. That says something. So I got to give credit where credit's due. I think that's fair, right? I would hope the SeaDoo guys would be like, oh, okay. Kevin's being fair. All right. So, all right, I can cross this off. I want to make a point, and it's not necessarily I told you so, even though it's totally I told you so. But what were my words in regards to the RXPX Apex? Do you guys remember what I said about the Apex? Let me know. What do you guys think about the Apex? I want to hear it. Because the Apex came in at $24,000, right? And change. And I said, hey, it's the RXPX. And if I had an extra $4 or $5 grand, I could do a whole hell of a lot with that. But Chuck was right. Chuck's exactly right. I said the steering system and much of the stuff that you see on the Apex was just going to be next year's model. Well, what is next year's model? I'll bring it up. Here, let's share a screen here. Share screen. Bring this up. Share it. Performance. That's TX. PX. That's specs. Grab the wrong thing. Lifestyle. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I can't share that pic. Whoopsie. Shoot. I want to share this picture, but I have to make it a stupid PDF. File. Export PDF. Desktop. Save. Use as PDF. Slides. From computer. Sorry, I didn't prep this very good. Cancel. Stupid ass thing. Didn't do the rotation right. Okay, let's try it again. I prepared. Look at me being professional. This sucks. Sorry, guys. I wasn't expecting to bring up the RXPX. Okay, it's processing. Come on. Add to stream. Here we go. Here we go. Well, look at that. Carbon fiber hood, foot wedges, and the steering system with the hydraulic damper. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? It's now a standard machine. That's great. With more horsepower. So you guys who went out and dropped 24 grand on an Apex, not only do you have the 24 model, but you have an overpriced 24 model. You also have an overpriced 24 model with 25 less horsepower and an inferior powertrain. That's why you should listen to this angry ginger. I sometimes know what I'm talking about. All right. So, I told you so. Anyways, I will tell you something rather interesting about that steering system. All right. Let's bring up, I'm going to bring up share screen, window. Let's bring up this one, share. Okay, here we go. I am on the OE website for Sea-Doo, for the Riva website, but the OE catalog. Do you guys remember? Here, let's bring this up. Here we go. 2020 RXPX 300 images. Here we go. Hey, look at that handlebar system. What does that handlebar system right there remind you of? What could it possibly remind you of? Just for fun. I know I'm giving it away. Hey now, could that possibly be the same steering neck as the Trix? Well, I don't know, Kevin. Let's check the part number. Oh, look at that. 2020 RXPX in jungle green. Steering column, 1998. Spark Trix, 1998. Steering column. What does that mean? That means that the steering neck of the Spark is the same as the RXPX, which is the same as the GTI, which, coincidentally enough, can fit with some slight modification into the full size. All right, but just as Brent said, Brent is over target. You're directly over Berlin on that one, Brent. Thank you very much. Is that the Spark can receive the steering damper. Excuse me. All right. So let's remove this. Let's add a screen. Share screen. We're going to go to the 2024 SeaDoo Spark. 2024 SeaDoo Spark, as shown here, has the same Trix steering neck, which we know can fit in an RXPX. So what does that imply for a future Trix? That implies that it could receive the hydraulic steering damper from the Apex, which is now standard equipment on the RXPX 325. What else does the SeaDoo Trix for 2024 also have in common with the new RXPX 325, Kevin? Well, shucks. Let's take a look. All right. Here we go. New digital display. Well, that digital display is the same size digital display that's in the GTIs that also comes on the RXPX. Huh. That's interesting. Number 2, it also comes with a 1-up freestyle seat. What other ski comes standard with a single seater? That's right, guys. It's the RXPX 325. Why would Sea-Doo drop the money on developing a high-bolstered single rider seat, on the Spark? Anyone who tells you it's for free riding and doing tricks is absolutely staggering blind freaking high out of a Dave Matthews concert if they think SeaDoo dropped the coin on a high bolstered single rider seat for the tricks solely. You're high. You're high as a kite. All right. You're high. A high bolstered single rider seat. Let's go to the next page. There it is. Here. Let's zoom and enhance. Here we go. There we go. Single rider seat. Okay. Well, it's not really high bolstered, Kevin. I think you're wrong. Oh, okay. All right. If you say so. If you say so. Okie dokie. All right. What's something else that's also standard on the tricks? That's unique? Integrated footwell wedges. Well, those are for doing wheelies. Yes. But I have to. Okay, no. I'm jumping the gun. I'm getting excited. Sorry. Footwell wedges, those are for doing wheelies. Handlebar adjustment, yes. I already talked about the handlebar adjustment. Extended range VTS, that's for doing wheelies too. There's trick mode. Okay, very true. But here's the one thing I got that was very interesting, and I wish I could have hard numbers for you. All right. So the one thing that I thought was really interesting, let's remove this. Let's remove this. Remove from studio. We are going to add a slide. Go to computer. Go to slide. Open. Then we're also going to add another slide. I want to add this one. All right. Let's take a look at this guy. Here's something interesting that was shared with me from a dealer who was at the dealer intro of the new Spark. And obviously, I'm showing the 3-seater with the extended platform on the back. This is the larger 3-seater. But what you see here, they officially announced that not only is there a larger access panel on the side, which you can see here. I don't think I can zoom in. No, I can't zoom in there. No, I don't know. All right. Yeah, it's not going to let me zoom in for you guys. I apologize. I wish it did. But it also has, when you remove the seat, it also has full engine access. Okay. Full serviceable engine access, both from the top and the sides. So you don't have to take the top off. Yeah, I wish I could enhance. I apologize. All right. This engine access that they got going on here also had something unique inside of it. And this was a rough measurement that was done by a dealership who called me that night after I did the podcast with James. And he says, Kevin, there is a combined added 8 inches of width inside of the engine compartment. He says roughly 4 inches on either side. He says it's really more like, 4.5 or 5 on one and 3 on the other. He says there is a lot more room inside of that engine compartment. I said, really? He goes, oh, yeah. And he said that top engine access is a big deal. He goes, they let us pull the seats off and pull the covers off and tear into these skis. He said there is a lot of real estate in order to access the engine in this thing. And I said, so what do you think? And he says, I don't know, man. He goes, if it's between you and me, I think there's a bigger engine coming in this thing. So I'm not trying to stir the pot here, but it's very, very likely that with added engine access, with the bars being the same part number, being totally exchangeable, and a single seat, we might see a performance Spark. Not next year. I don't think next year. I think in about 2 years. And I'll tell you why. All right. The reason being is that the Spark Trix accounts for 70% of Spark sales. The Spark Trix accounts for 70% of Spark sales. They do not need to mess with a good seller. And they don't want to bury a good seller either. They're not going to bury the 325. They're not going to bury the new RXPX. They're not going to bury the standard Spark and the standard Trix with a high performance Spark. Now, my understanding is that, here's my understanding. The Trix is the current hotness for SeaDoo. The Trix is the thing that gets people in the door. Like people come running in saying, I want a Spark Trix. I don't want a regular Spark. I want the Trix. Okay. So why that's a good question, Chaos. That's a very good question. That is a very good question. There is this dealer and a couple other people that I talked to, because I've done nothing but talk Sea-Doo this entire week, and I'm tired of talking Sea-Doos, is they might call it a Trix 110, a Trix 125, a Trix 130, whatever the engine may be. Because the Trix has marketing value. Instead of a Spark X, like I and Jerry and Greg Gaddis have been wanting for 10 years, it might be called a performance version of a Trix. Now, will it do wheelies with 125 horse? Probably not. I think that would be a recipe for disaster. But I've been wrong. I've been half wrong. I've been wrong. You know, I've also been really right. So what potentially could come out of this is you guys will see in 2 years' time either a warmed over 900, you know, Ace 900, or a 1630. Now, the added engine access makes me think 1630. The added capacity in the engine compartment is exactly what Greg Gaddis and I were told to our faces at the launch of the Switch 2 years or 3 years ago now, or two years ago. Holy crap! Yeah, it's been 2 years. So 2 years ago was, well, the 1630 won't fit right now, but it will. Meaning the engine won't be changed, but the deck would be changed. Now, a lot of people are like, I'm disappointed they didn't change the hull. I'm not. I'm not surprised they did not change the hull. The hull is an HX. The hull is one of Sea-Doo's most successful hulls from the 90s. All right. The RXPX is a very mildly warmed over, mildly changed version of the 2012 RXPX. That hull is 12 years old, more or less. They changed a little bit around the intake rate, and then they broke up the they broke out the outer chines into the shark gills just so that it can execute a wide sweeping turn and not have so much drag that it catches. So the RXPX is riding on a slightly modified 12-year-old hull. All right. The GP, the Yamaha GP, is riding on a 9-year-old hull. The Ultra is riding on a hull from 2007 with some very minor modifications. Guys, manufacturers need to save money where they can. All right. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The cost of a hull mold is anywhere between $750,000 and $1 million. That's what it costs them. If they can save that money by maintaining a hull, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. The GP hull is not going to change for a very long time. They have no reason to. They have zero reason to. Cowie is still running the STX hull, which is basically the same hull since 2003. All right. Well, it's a slightly modded version of the STX-R, and that's 2001. So, yeah, they're not going to throw that money away when it works. And especially when they can improve ergonomics, when they can improve center of gravity, when they can make it more comfortable, when they can make the ski more accessible, and when they can throw power at it and it's not unruly. Holy crap, why say throw the money away? Spend the money elsewhere, right? Follow the money. Follow the money. So, Spark X. You guys want to know where Spark X was. You guys want to know why, Kevin? Why didn't they come out with it? It's because they just unloaded both barrels of the shotgun in your face with a 325 horsepower engine. That's a lot of money. That's a butt ton of money for them to spend. All right. That put them way on top. That puts them on top of everything. All right. Horsepower wars, racing wars, all you guys on the lake who are all into dick measuring, that's why. That's what they did. All right. They had to announce the new Tricks line and the new Spark line and let it have its day in the sun. That's marketing 101. Anyone who doesn't get it has their head up their ass. Or you're a spoiled kid at Christmas going, well, this isn't the right toy that I wanted. I wanted a blue bicycle and you got me a red one. That's what you sound like. So no one cares. Corporate doesn't care. I don't really care. I don't really care in general. I really don't. But I mean, that's what everyone goes to the internet and is like, I'm disappointed. They didn't give me what I wanted. Where? Okay. Well, that's cool. Okay. So, I mean, I'm not. Whatever. I see it. All right. I've been in this industry for. I've either been adjacent or directly inside of this industry. 18 years. Yeah, about 18 years. I'm always grumpy, Roman. This is me. This is it. You're looking at it. You want bubbly, go watch the Barbie movie. So I have to laugh. I'm like, dude, I get it. I get what companies do. They're going to spend money smartly, especially in this economy. Especially right now. Do you know? Okay, let me explain to you what's happening right now. There are people out here, and Greg Gaddis and anyone else who's in all these groups and all these forums can absolutely attest to this. I'm not pulling this out of my ass. All right. There are people who go out there and buy brand new supercharged skis. Go out there and buy brand new top of the line, high performance supercharged skis. They've blown all their money and now they're going, well, I'm not going to spend $4 a gallon. I'm just going to put 87 octane in. And then they go on Facebook and they go, why the hell is my ski running so bad? How come it's knocking all the time? How come my fuel mileage is terrible? That's what's happening. They'll drop the money on a brand new SVHO or a brand new 300 Ace, and they'll pour 87 down the tank. And they'll go, what happened? I don't get it. What the heck? It's literally happening. And shitheads like me are going on to Facebook and going, bro, you're pinging the hell out of your engine. What does that mean? You're detonating. Huh? Okay. So we're stuck having to answer guys like this. All right. I can't. Oh, I can't. So, anyways, my point is I'm not discouraged by this. I'm not disappointed in this. It makes sense. All right. Personally, if I was James, if I was in James's shoes, if it was me, I would have made 2024 the year of the Spark. I would have held off on the 325. That's me. I would have held off. I would have had it be Spark across the board. Just the only thing we're talking about is Spark. New Spark design, new Spark colors and wraps, new tricks, new options for tricks. And then for you hot rod guys, Tricks 125 or Tricks 110 or Spark X or Sparkapalooza or whatever the hell they call it. All right. That would be me if I was in James's shoes. But they had been gearing up to make the 325. It was prime time for the 325 because performance had gone to such a level that the high performance, we're talking the Green Hulks and the Riva Racings and the GP or the JPs and the, Callus and all these guys, CRT Racing, all these top end, high end, 90, 95, 100 mile an hour race guys who are boiling water behind them. They're breaking parts. And so when they're breaking parts to this degree, CIDU goes, wait a minute. We don't want to lose these guys. We want to be the preferred choice of the top end race guys. We want to be that brand. So they dropped the 325. Okay. I understand it. And then what happens when they drop the 325? The same year that Yamaha says, we're going green. You have dingbats like me going, holy shit, they went freaking nuclear. And I'm cheering CIDU on going, dude, it works out. All right. See what happens? Domino effect. Okay. So I got a couple more things I want to show you guys that might get you excited. Or at least tickle your fancy a little bit. All right. Come on. Remove. I got to upload more. Stop screen. All right, I got to upload a couple of slides. So slide number, computer, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Open. And then preset, slide, computer. Computer, hello. Hello, computer. Oh, I have another slide for you guys just to hammer down my point. Because I like beating dead horses. That's how I do things. Is I beat horses to death. All right, here, let's open up this one. This is really funny. I'm personally really excited about this ski. I'm glad they brought back the GTRX. I'm actually really stoked about it. Here's the thing about the GTRX. Hall GTI, Polytech 2. It's the one that's reinforced with fiberglass stringers. All right. The GTO, wow, yeah, the 1970 Pontiac GTO 455 Judge, blah blah blah. Okay, the GTRX shares the same Polytech 2 hull as the GTR 230 and the GTI 170. The deck, which is this under, this top part, all right, the top of the clamshell, same thing as an RXPX, same thing as a GTI, same deck, same hood as the GTI. But you notice the fairings and glove box and center console, what they call the console, the console is the same as the RXPX. The seat is a modified version of the RXPX. It's not the RXPX Ergolock R. It's a modified version. It's its own creature. Okay. But look at the steering neck. It's not the Apex. It's not the It's not the hydraulic damper Apex steering. It is the Trix. It's the fixed version of the Trix. Or is it? It's the adjustable. It's the adjustable version of the Trix steering. Meaning that has the same input shaft, is the same neck as the Spark. These are interchangeable. And because we know that the Apex steering goes in this, we know that the Apex steering can also go into the Spark if so applied. Okay. Got it? We on the same page? Good. Moving on. All right. Dead horse has been sufficiently beaten. All right. Here's the one that I think a lot of you guys should pay attention to. This is the new dashboard of the 21-foot Switch Limited. All right. This is the top of the line Switch. All the bells and whistles, all the doodads, all the big whiz-bang stuff. I want you to pay attention to two things on this. First, the 10.25-inch wide color touchscreen. Second, the all-new gauge pods on the handlebars. Yes, Chuck. Chuck is correct. No more split screen. All right. Look at the control pods on the handlebars. Can you guys see my cursor, or am I just doing this on my screen? Can you guys see that? I'm trying to circle it, but I don't think I am. Full screen layout. No, it's full screen layout. It's still not. Oh, wait. Nope. I screwed up. Okay. Anyways. Look, there is a toggle there. You can, okay, yeah. If you look on the left hand side by the thumb, below the trim control, you will see toggle controls. All right. So that while at speed, you can toggle the cursor. Obviously, on the right-hand side, you're also going to see other control functions. Sea-Doo is not going to spend the money on a completely redesigned handlebar, pad, and control pods and keep it solely for one machine. Obviously, we're going to see it come down the line for switches, and Switch will see it first. Obviously, that follow the money. Where's the low-hanging fruit? Where's the money going to be spent? All right. But here, let me pull something up real quick. Hold on. Let me close this out. John Leonard has a question. Here you go, John. That's the hyperlink to our riding shirts. UV protectant, long sleeve riding shirts. Well ventilated. They don't stink. All right. So check it out. The new dash. Kevin's so happy. This is me elated. This is it. This is birthday, Christmas morning. This is peak happy Kevin. All right. That's what you're getting. So this, in my opinion, is the biggest deal. This is going to be the new tech package. This is going to be what replaces and puts Sea-Doo ahead of Yamaha by a mile. This is what's going to, the 325 puts Sea-Doo ahead of Cowie. The dashboard and the dash functions and the handlebar controls are what's going to put Sea-Doo ahead of Yamaha. Sea-Doo pulled ahead of both Yamaha and Cowie this year. Now, did they do it on one machine? No. Hero of mine. Hero fine. What the hell is this? Hero of mine. No, they are not. They are not available on any Sea-Doos. This is not available on any Sea-Doo Watercraft. It is only available on the limited edition Sea-Doo Switch Tritoon boat. All right. But again, follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money. Sea-Doo is not going to spend the money on this dashboard just to have it on one thing. They've never done it before in the history of ever. And everything always trickles down. Everything always trickles down. That split screen, that is the tech package, was on all the Can-Ams and was on all the Ski-Doos before. And Watercraft got it later. Same goes for here. All right? We got it? We good? Thank you, David. Appreciate the support. You're a good man. So, let's go back over what we got here. Follow the money. Where was the money spent this year? Money was spent on a new Spark. Spark has oh, interesting. Okay. Changes to the Spark and what they imply. Bigger engine compartment, more access to the engine, more room inside. Exactly what I was told 2 years ago by Martin LaChance, who is now the head of engineering and development for Sea-Doo Watercraft. Okay. Same thing that Greg Gaddis will swear up and down to. So if you say that Kevin's a liar, you're saying Greg's a liar too, because Greg was there. Everything I say, Greg is going to echo. And anything Greg says, I will echo the same, because out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall every word be established. All right? Second, the steering neck for the tricks is the same steering neck used in the GTRX, which is the same steering neck that was used previously on the outgoing edition of the RXPX 300. And that means that the steering, the Apex hydraulic dampened steering can go without a doubt inside of the Spark. Third, Spark, for whatever reason, has a single seat. Now, to be fair, most people who ride Sparks like a 2-seater Spark, rode single anyway. So a single seat was kind of cool. But to make a sporty single seat is to also hearken to the RXPX 215, as well as the previous edition RXPX and the current edition RXPX. All right. So there's a lot leaning there. There's a lot to be implied there. Now, CIDU Spark hulls are strong enough for what they're doing. Very few people are cracking, splitting, smashing Polytech hulls. All right. I believe, and I'm probably about 85% sure, that were a Spark X or Trix 125 or whatever the heck they choose to call a performance edition of a Spark, very well may have Polytech 2, which means it has fiberglass stringers and it's slightly thicker. I'm about 80 to 85% sure. But on the flip side, those turbo Sparks that you see out of Austria, you see guys like Spark Tuning and all these dudes who are making fast Sparks. They're not splitting the hulls either. I think the only thing that's a concern is the stress on the pump tunnel. So pump tunnel may need to be reinforced if it's making that kind of power. So that's the speculation. There's too many things that came out on the Spark that absolutely were red flags. Like, well, I shouldn't say red flags, but were green flags for a future Spark. And the people who are like, oh my gosh, I'm so disappointed in the new Spark. Oh, I'm so bummed about the new Spark. Literally did not have eyes to see what was directly in front of them. I showed you part numbers. It took 10 minutes to verify my suspicions. I was like, oh, okay, bigger engine compartment. It can accept the hydraulic dampened steering, and it's got a single seat. Okay, count me in. Oh, better ventilated engine compartment. More room in the engine compartment. More engine access. Oh, golly. I wonder why they did that now instead of over the last 10 years. Can you guys piece this together? It's not hard. So anyways, the new engine, I think I'm curious to see if the GTX Limited will get 325. I really am. Because I'm sure there's going to be some yahoos going to want the Limited with all the horses. But the problem is that my belief is that the 325, 300 horse is not breaking IDF. Modifying a 300 horse ski is scattering IDF. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that IDF is not available on the 325s. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. So that's why the Limited, the GTX Limited, does not get 325. It's going to have 300. So, personally, GTRX is the model that I want for next year. Pretty sure I'm getting a 325 RXPX. But Henry. Yeah. I, I can't even. I can't even. I can't even. I can't. Thank you for the super chat, Henry. Shit. Who remembers the movie There's Something About Mary? Cameron Diaz, Ben Stiller. Remember Mary had a brother. Sometimes Henry reminds me of that brother. Oh my goodness. All right. So, yeah, I think there's a lot to it. I really do think there's a lot hinting at the future. Thank you, Chuck. Chuck gets it. Chuck gets it. Damn it. I'm trying not to make those kinds of jokes. At least on YouTube. All right. So, oh, guy, that was funny. Movie reference. Sorry. Oh, okay. So dashboard, dash controls for the Switch Limited will be a future tech package. 325 engine is the new bar. Don't expect to see IDF on it anytime soon. That's also why I don't expect to see a GTX Limited 325 anytime soon. Not for at least a couple of years until IDF is absolutely grenade proof. And I think that's going to take a few years. Spark has legs, guys. Spark has legs. Trix is going to sell. Guaranteed Trix is going to sell. A lot of people are going to really jump on the single seat Spark, single seat Trix. They're going to be excited. I don't see the performance version coming out for a couple of years. They're going to let the Trix breathe. It's marketing 101. It's marketing 101. I mean, it's junior college, $100 a credit class marketing 101. This is very, very basic stuff. They're not going to blow their load all at once. I mean, if you're looking at the entire 5 year or 3 year, let's say they're 3 years locked, that they're absolutely locked in their lineup for the next 3 years. And in that includes the modern tech package on the GTX. In that includes a new Apex for every year that's going to introduce something new every year. Okay. Let's say a Spark X. Okay. Or 2 iterations of Spark X. Ooh, what? Wait, what? Yeah, a 2-seater and a 1-seater. Really? Maybe. Okay. Let's say they had all the 325s and the redesigned Sparks and everything that came out this year. They got 3 years of product lined up. Why would they launch all 3 years of new stuff in 1 year? Why would anyone? Okay. The point is to get people excited for the new thing, which people are moths, and they'll flock to a flame and go, it's the new thing. I got to get the new thing. And everyone jumps on the new thing. And then the next year comes along, and then there's a new thing. And everyone goes, but I just bought the new thing, but this new thing is better than the new thing. I need to trade my new thing for the new thing. And here we go again. All right. When people come to me and email me going, what should I buy? I say, look at the used market. Why buy new? Especially if it's a person who's never bought a jet ski before. I go, buy used. But I go, buy used. Well, why? I go, because there is a bumper crop of knuckleheads who have bought Apexes, who've bought a 22 RXPX or bought a 23 RXTX, and now the 325s come out, and they're like, screw this 300, I got to have the 325. And they drop what they've got and they go with the 325, or they get the new whiz bang, whatever it is. And that's how it works. All right. That's human behavior 101. I don't care what it is. Phones, cars, trucks, jet skis, name it. There are those people with expendable income and very bad decision-making paradigms who will go and buy brand new stuff and then flip it because they want the next brand new thing. And so the smart person goes, oh, well, I'll just pick up on your 30-hour or 40-hour RXPX and I'll enjoy the hell out of it. It's still within warranty as long as it's not modified. Right? So that's my point. You're describing me to a T. All right. So that's kind of what I got lined up. Yamaha with their 1.9 liter, the 200. I think the VXHO is going to be a freaking home run as long as the motor is good. You know, as long as there's not problems, you know, first year teething issues with the 1.9 liter, I think the VXHO and the GPHO are going to be bitching. I love the VXHO. I push people on the VHHO all the time. VXHO, excuse me. I push people on the VXHO all the time. GPHO is going to be a riot. It's going to be a hoot because 200 horse. Okay, great. The biggest question that I had was weight. Was the 19 liter any different in weight to the 18 liter? And if it was, it'd probably be negligible, maybe a pound or two. But if they used a bunch of lightweight stuff, maybe they shaved 5 pounds. I don't know. You know, weight is weight. So that's kind of my idea. Will there be a supercharged HO? Yeah, there will be. I've heard that it won't be compliant with certain states' very strict emission laws. I think that would be freaking ritual Japanese suicide if they did that, because that limits their market range. Some states are more stringent than others. Tennessee doesn't give a rat's ass what you do. I mean, you can make a diesel-powered jet ski, and I don't think they'd care. Get old Cummins 12 valve. But you know, New York or New Hampshire or California or Oregon or Washington, the whole West Coast sucks. So I've heard that the next generation SVHO may be limited. I can't imagine. Boy, But here's the rub. Yamaha will still not advertise horsepower. And that's a really funny story. And I don't know if you guys wanted to hear that one, why Yamaha will never advertise big horsepower numbers anymore, even though you can literally look at the engine cover or the engine plate, the identification plate, and it will say the horsepower number on there. But anyway, they might make a 300 horse. They won't advertise it as 300 horse, but they'll say it's competitive, whatever. New Hampshire is North Tennessee, Kevin. Yeah, I've heard that there's a lot of libertarians and they're very pro-gun in New Hampshire. I don't know. I ain't found nothing good out of the Northeast, so you're going to have to convince me on that one. All right, I'm going to tell you this story that was told to me when I worked at Cycle News back in 2007. And then I'm going to sign out. This was told to me did Paul Carruthers tell me this story? I think it was Paul. Paul Carruthers he was the first editor of Personal Watercraft Illustrated, but his father was a very successful sport bike racer, if I remember right. And Paul, his father was Australian. Paul grew up in the States. Paul's was a young, good-looking guy and little tiny jockey of a guy. But he was real good-looking, and all the girls thought he was dreamy. So he was chasing skirts all through the jet ski height, the 80s and 90s. And then when he got out of running Personal Watercraft Illustrated, he went over and started running the parent magazine, which was Cycle News. And Cycle News was more his jam because he grew up with motorcycles. Fair enough. Makes sense. Paul hated my guts. Oh, God, he hated me. But I wasn't, I'm not the kind of guy who I do not play well with others, especially in an office environment. Anyway, that's why I'm my own boss. Anyway, that's another story. But when the first SHO engine came out, it was estimated to make about 220 horse. And guys like Jerry were tuning the SHOs. Guys like Mike Fulmer were tuning the SHOs. Bill Chapin at R&D Racing got a Motec ECU on it and really opened it up. But it took $20,000 or $10,000 worth of parts just to make that thing go 80 miles an hour. And that was on a 2008 FZR or FZS, which was the same ski, different seat. Anyways, when the SHO engine came out, we were all kind of scratching our heads about why the hell won't Yamaha ever advertise any sort of numbers? We were in the middle of the horsepower wars. Cowie was at 260. Sea-Doo was at 255. Everyone was in this big dick measuring contest, and everyone wanted to know who was making the most power. And we thought it was really funny that Yamaha was not going to be forthright with their numbers. And Paul set me straight. Paul was laughing. He goes, "Oh, that's easy." And I go, "Why is that?" And he says, "Well, back when everyone was first going four-stroke with the dual sports, the motorcycles, everyone would got in a horsepower war. This is early 2000s. And everyone started advertising these numbers. And, KTM and Husqvarna and Kawasaki and Suzuki and everyone started getting into this pissing match about who was making the most power. Well, Yamaha comes out with, and I can't tell you what the number was. It might have been 240 horse. It could have been, it could have been 140 horse. It could have been 150 horse. It could have been 110 horse. I just don't remember what it was. I don't recall. But, excuse me, Yamaha came really out of the gate one model year and really like beat everyone by like 10 or 15 horse. And that was a big deal. That was a really big deal. And it's more like 280, Crab. It's about 285, 280, 285 at peak, around 285 peak horsepower, but you're only there for like a second or two. So anyways, everyone kind of raised an eyebrow at Yamaha being so far ahead in horsepower with this 4-stroke 2-cylinder. So another magazine, and not Cycle News, another magazine got all these bikes together, and they went and they pulled the engines out. From what I was told, they pulled the engines out of all these bikes, and they put them on a chassis, or they put them on an engine dyno, and they started running numbers. And Yamaha not only was below their advertised number, but they were like below mid-pack. They were like bottom third of horsepower output. And this Cycle World or whatever magazine it was who wrote this absolutely eviscerated Yamaha in this article. This is like 2002, 2003. And Paul's telling me the story. And he's laughing. I mean, he's red in the face. He's laughing. He's like, this is the funniest damn thing. Well, the problem was that there was a lot of really pissed off people. And they filed a lawsuit against Yamaha for false advertising. And was it Dirt Rider magazine, Chris? Was it Dirt Rider? Boy, I'd love to look up that article. So apparently a class action lawsuit was filed. And Yamaha Japan took it as a big dishonor. And it was a big black eye to the company. So suddenly all the numbers vanished from all their bikes and all their four-wheelers and all their watercraft. All of a sudden, horsepower numbers went poof. Disappeared. And that became kind of we don't talk about horsepower. Now, what's interesting is that with the EXR and the Wave Blaster or Jet Blaster, and even with the Superjet, with the TR1 motor, they've been okay with advertising horsepower numbers. 100 horse, 110 horse. Whoop-de-doo. And they kind of like, oh, that's safe. That's really safe. Oh, okay, cool. But when it came to the big stuff, hey, even the 180 horse, 180 horse HO, and now the 200 horse 1.9 liter HO. Okay. But for whatever reason, the supercharged stuff, they were real quiet about their numbers. And I asked about it, and they kind of were like, we don't want to talk about it. I'm like, okay. But that was kind of the reason why Yamaha has always been really shy about advertiser numbers. And what's really funny was around the same time when SeaDoo was in this, 255, 260, pissing match with Cowie, Riva was like, bro, SeaDoo ain't anywhere near 255, 260. Now they didn't want to burn a bridge with SeaDoo at all because they're like, listen, man, we get special access to SeaDoos and Yamahas because we play nice, so we're going to keep playing nice. But they kind of leaked it out to me, and they leaked it out to Jerry because they have a dyno. They have a dyno, guys. They have a dyno jet, or not dyno jet. It's another brand of dyno, but they have a legit engine dyno. And that number, on the stock engine just kind of trickled out. And it was something like 230, like 238 or 236, some number down in the 230s. And everyone's like, wah, wah. And when the 310 came out, no joke, when the 310 came out, I get an email from Ken Essex at Cowie with the dyno sheet. And he goes, 309.8 horsepower brake dyno or brake horsepower on the dyno. I mean, I had the dyno sheet, and it was like, what was the RPM? It was something like 78, like 7880 or 7860 or something like that. And it was so funny when I almost didn't even have to ask for it. They immediately sent me the dyno sheet. They're like, here you go. And I remember hitting up Dave at Cowie or Dave at Riva, and he's like, oh yeah, they make their numbers. They don't lie about their numbers. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, that was really funny. Was the old Rotax, 1503 was like, the 255 and the 260s were nowhere near that. But that was 2009, 2010. It was freaking 15 years ago. It's water under the bridge. So anyway, but all right, guys. Well, I'm done. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hopefully I gave you something to gave you something to chew on, something to look forward to.